Hi, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name is Amber. I'm an author and a freelance editor. Today I am going to be talking about the personal curriculum I have created for myself for fall of 2025. If you have been around this channel, you may have remembered my DIY MFA video I posted back in the spring. And this is very similar to that, but I am structuring it a little bit better. I pulled a creative writing curriculum off of NYU's website. So that was 9 pages long, mine is 1 page, okay? But also, this isn't graded. We're not looking at like workshop participation like you would normally do in a creative writing course. And my curriculum is based on creative writing because everything I do is centered in that industry. So looking at my curriculum, I'm going to have 4 focuses. You can kind of consider these my 4 classes I'm taking for the semester, but they are creative writing, marketing, witchcraft, and business. So for the creative writing, that is going to be drafting the first completion of the cemetery book, as well as finalizing for publication the selected poems of Amber Campbell, which is going to be releasing this November. So I have talked about both these at length in recent videos, so if you're curious, you can go ahead and check those out. But as far as marketing, that's going to follow in the same vein. We're talking book sales, we are talking rebranding my Instagram account, which has already been underway, I think for about a week now when I'm uploading this video, as well as posting regularly to YouTube, and I'm going to go more in depth on what that is going to entail. Thirdly, the witchcraft. My cemetery book is going to be including death witches in particular, so I just want to read a bunch of witchy novels, and again, more details on that very, very shortly. And lastly, business. This is going to be in relation to freelance editing first and foremost, since that is what pays my bills, and just kind of expanding on my freelance editing business. So those are my 4 courses I will be taking. As you can see, they pretty much overlap, which is how universities are once you hit your junior and senior year, because that's when you're really diving into your major and taking classes that are just focused on that, because you have finally finished with the core classes like math, science, history, and all that other stuff. So, my final portfolio. There is not going to be assignments per se, unless you want to count like uploading to YouTube and Instagram and things like that. But I didn't want to focus on the week by week. I wanted to focus on the final portfolio, which is what you always submit in a creative writing class. And so for me, this is all going to be completed by November 30th. Some of these will be completed beforehand, but by November 30th, I should have a completed first draft of the cemetery book, at least 13 long-form videos on YouTube, but I would love to hit 20, which would mean half the time I'm posting 2 videos a week, which I believe should be doable, especially because I have kicked off an Amber Autumn, which is when I'm just diving headfirst into everything, pushing things out before the year end. That way when I start in January, try to find a new rhythm, I already have some momentum going on my social media channels. Lastly, I want to release the selected poems of Amber Campbell. That will be releasing in November. I have not posted the release date just yet, but it will be releasing in November. So that one will actually get done before the November 30th deadline. The other ones are going to be the consistency that we see week by week. Now, I did want to go into required textbooks and materials, especially for somebody who is a writer. I think that's really important. So the craft books, first and foremost, you guys have heard me talk about this book so many times. I'm trying not to catch the glare. Self-Editing for Fiction Writers by Rennie Brown and Dave King. This was actually a required reading back in my creative writing program when I was at university. And it is, was it creative? I don't remember. I found this book while in college. That's all I remember at this point, because that was over 10 years ago. But this is a book that really explains writing on the more, it talks on developmental editing side of it, developing the story, but it is great for line editing. So if that is the type of revision that you are really bad at, I highly recommend this one. And this is what I'm reading while I draft, because this ensures that my first draft is as clean as possible in terms of the voice and the style. So all I should have to do on my second draft is look at the plot and the pacing. I should not have to even worry about how it sounds. And then as we progress, I don't even need to do line edits, I just need to dive into copy edits and then find a proofreader, and then I'm all good to go. Another one that is going to be a required reading, Story and Structure by, I don't know these names, Thomas Arp and Greg Johnson. So this is one I did not read for university. I actually read Writing Fiction by Janet Burroway. At the time, I think she only had the 7th edition out. That is the 3rd required title for reading. This one is the one that I have easier access to because my Janet Burroway title is in storage and I still need to go find it. But this is the one I'm going to be using. This is very much textbook, whereas this is more, I don't want to say self-help, that's not what it is, but this is more written in the vernacular. This is much more technical in nature, so that's why I recommend one of each, so that this teaches you the bones of writing, and this gives it to you in a way that probably is easier to understand. And then Janet Burroway, once I find that, that will also be something else I use because they have different short stories in each one, and that is what I highly recommend, is reading short stories because you can get the whole glimpse of the piece without spending a few hours reading something. Now, with any course, there's also optional textbooks and readings, and among those, I need to read 3 witchy novels. Right now I'm reading the London Seance Society. I will pick 2 more, but at minimum I have to read 3 witchy books during the fall period. I say at least 3 because I often work on 5 to like 8 client projects a month, and that's a lot of manuscripts to read because these are full-length manuscripts. So I'm reading 5 to 8 books a month before I even touch my recreational reads. So it is really difficult for me to find the time and the desire to read something extra on top of what I'm already reading. But at minimum 3, I would love to read 6 throughout the next 3 months, and I think that would just help me get into the vibe and the headspace of what I want this urban fantasy wit to be. As far as additional readings, we're talking 7-figure fiction. I have read this one by T. Taylor. There we go. And this is going to help me because every other book I've published has been poetry, so this didn't really quite apply, but it will for the Cemetery book. And even though it's not actually a young adult, it is going to be just an adult urban fantasy. This is the version of Save the Cat Writes a Novel that I have, and I have enough writing experience that I can tweak it to match my adult urban fantasy. I also want to find a couple business titles. Normally for my business advice and guidelines and just guidance in general, I usually refer to YouTube. So I've got a handful of YouTubers I follow. I'll probably post them up here because I know Deya for sure, Modern Millie, but there's also a few others that I touch on here and there that I want to implement more often. And those will be my business sources, especially because YouTube is one of my main businesses that I want to expand upon. And lastly, no, that was it. Oh, the witchy titles, I have created a Goodreads link, so if you want to check it out, you're more than welcome to. If you have witchy recommendations, please send them to me. I am looking to expand upon it. A lot of mine are young adult based just because that's what I specialize in for my editing as well, but I am trying to go into more of the adult space. So if you have good witchy books that can be cozy, but I'm also looking for a little bit more gritty, gothic, I think is really picking up right now in the industry. So anything like that I would love to find more of. But like I said, I have talked about my DIY MFA from before, and then anything to do with like my writing. I have vlogs posted all over my channel for various stages of what I'm doing. But it is Amber Autumn, so I am really excited to dive into this hyper focus on my work, my YouTube channel, my Instagram. I think for my Instagram, I'm really going to focus on just rebranding in general. I am posting about my upcoming release because that is less than 2 months away, but I also want to curate what I want the page to be, because before it was only poetry, which made sense, that's what I was publishing, but as I expand into the fiction realm, I don't want to just be poetry. I want to incorporate the Cemetery book, small bits. That way, new individuals who find me know not to expect only poetry. I did a complete revamp of it. I had like 500 posts and reels, and I think I deleted or archived them down to like 36. So we're talking almost Taylor Swift level of erasure and starting over, because I had 700 followers and I didn't just want to lose them. So, but this video has gotten very, very long. I don't even know if I'll be able to edit it because I'm still using Canva because I'm so behind. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please hit like, subscribe, all the clicky button things. It really helps the channel. And leave a comment down below if you'd like to see more videos like this, or what you're even doing for your own curriculum if you're doing one for this fall. But thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.